Hi everyone, I'll be discussing Form 3 Chapter 3 Consumer Mathematics today. First, we are going to learn about savings. For savings, we have three types of account, which is saving accounts. Second is current account, and the third is fixed deposit account. Okay, as you all know, fixed deposit and saving accounts will give you interest, whereas there's no interest given for current account, as current account is open for business or company purpose. Okay, so as saving accounts and current account, so saving account and fixed deposit account, our return is in the form of simple and compound interest. Okay, so there are two types of interest: simple and compound interest when you're keeping your money, when you're saving your money in a bank. So first one, Ali deposited 2,000 ringgit into saving account that gives 3% simple interest per year. How much will he have after 4 years? Okay. When they're talking about simple interest, our formula for simple interest is I equals to PRT, where P stands for principal, R stands for your interest rate, and T stands for your time. So in this question, you can see that your principal here is 2,000, 3% interest rate, and they want the savings after 4 years. So we will take 2,000 times with 3 over 100 times with 4 years. This will be our interest earned for 4 years, which will give you the answer RM 240. So this is the interest earned after 4 years, but the question have asked how much will he have after 4 years. So which includes your savings of 2,000 ringgit. So his total money that he will have after 4 years is 2,400 ringgit. That's all for the first one. Second one, Chia saves 2,000 in her fixed deposit account, which is compounded 6 months once with interest rate 3.2%. Calculate the total amount after 4 years. So if you can see the word compounded, so we are going to use compound interest here, and the interest is compounded 6 months once, interest rate 3.2. Calculate the amount after 4 years. This is a principal. So when it comes to compound interest, we are going to use the formula of MV, matured value equals to P bracket 1 plus R over N bracket NT. So in this formula, we are going to substitute as usual your principal 2,000, 1 plus your interest is 3.2%. We will directly convert into percent, which is 0.032 divided by N. N is number of times our interest is compounded. So it's compounded 6 months once. In a year, you will be getting your interest 2 times. Your N is 2 and your time is 4 years. So if you press your calculator, your answer will be RM 2270.80 cents. So this is the total amount after 4 years, which includes the principal and also the savings together. Okay, so once you are keeping your money in the account, there are two types of interest that we can receive: simple and compound. If it's a compound interest, you need to use matured value. Okay, next one is return on investment. For return on investment, they can ask you for unit trust. Yes, you have three types of investment: unit trust, you have unit trust, second one is shares, and another one is real estate. So they can ask you ROI based on these three investments. Let's see question 1. Siti invested 5,000 ringgit in a unit trust fund. After 1 year, the value increased to 5,500. She received a dividend of 3%. Calculate her ROI. First, what's your formula for ROI? ROI equivalent to total return over initial investment times 100. Okay, so what do they mean by total return? Unit trust and shares both will give you the return in the form of capital gain and dividend. Okay, whereas for real estate, you will get your return in terms of rental and capital gain. So what is capital gain? Actually, capital gain is your selling price minus your buying price. Okay, so I repeat, unit trust and shares, you will get your return in terms of capital gain and dividend. Whereas for real estate, we will get our return in terms of rental and capital gain. Okay, so let's see for question number 1. Our initial investment is 5,000. This is our initial investment. After 1 year, the value increased to 5,500. So what is the capital gain here? Capital gain here will be selling price minus your buying price, your final price minus your initial price that you invested in. So your capital gain here is 500 ringgit. Okay. Whereas for your dividend, you receive a dividend of 3%. So 3 over 100 times your initial investment, 5,000 ringgit. So you will get a dividend of 150 ringgit. So ROI for the first question will be, total return will be 500 plus 150 over your initial investment, which is 5,000 ringgit times 100. So 650 divided by 5,000 times 100, which will give you the return 13%. Okay, so this is Siti's return after 1 year investing into unit trust fund. Let's see question 2. A man invested in 500 shares with each unit 1 ringgit 50 cent. He received a dividend of RM 350. So they already calculated the dividend for you here, 350. After a year, he sold all the shares for 1 ringgit 80 cent. Okay, so first step, let's calculate what is the initial investment. So he bought 500 shares and each share is 1 ringgit 50 cent. So 1 ringgit 50 cent times 500. So his initial investment will be RM 750. Okay. Now let's calculate your capital gain. How much money did he earn profit from selling the shares? Okay. Your final price of the share of your shares is 180 minus your initial price, which is 150. So the profit is 30 cents and you have 500 shares. So what is the profit he have made from that 500 shares? RM 150 ringgit. Okay, so the dividend is already been given 350. You don't have to calculate the dividend. Dividend is RM 350. So now let's calculate your ROI. Your ROI will be, your return will be capital gain and your dividend 150 plus 350 over initial investment 750 times times 100. So 150 plus 350 divided by 750 times 100. So your ROI is 66.67%. Okay, so his return ROI of investment by buying shares is 66.67%. Okay, so this is the return for unit trust or shares. Let's see ROI for real estate. So real estate, there are few things that you need to consider. So when you are buying a property or you're buying a commercial unit, a housing loan, okay, there will be few charges, legal costs, something that you need to spend, stamp duty, agents, commission, and so on. Okay, so we are going to still use the same formula, ROI equals to total return over initial investment times 100. Okay, so here to calculate your total return, let's read the question. Jennifer bought a house of 580,000. So this is her initial investment. in January 2018. She paid 10% of the house purchase, which is 58,000. So this is her down payment. Down payment means cash payment made. Okay. Then she sold her house for 1 million. She earned 200,000 from the rental. As I told you all earlier, the return for real estate is in terms of rental and your capital gain. Okay, the loan still owed to the bank is 405. She's still yet to pay, and the loan that already been paid to the bank is 400,000. Other charges are as below. So how are you going to calculate your ROI right now? So your return will be, how do you calculate your capital gain first? Capital gain will be your selling price, which you're going to sell is 1 million, minus all the costs that you have spent on the house, all the expenses. So she paid 58,000 for the down payment, plus she have paid to the bank 400,000, plus she yet to pay to the bank 405,000, something that she need to settle. Her legal costs 13,000. Her stamp duty 11,000, and the agent's commission 10,000. So this is all the money that she has spent on the property, on her house. So you have to take your selling price minus all the expenses. So this will be your capital gain plus your, okay, no need, let's just calculate the capital gain first. So for this, what will we get? Okay, so we will get RM 103,000. So this is her capital gain. Then our return is also in terms of rental. And the rental earned is, Richard has told you, 200,000. So let's calculate ROI now. So your ROI will be total return, which is CG, and your rental. So 103 plus 200,000 over your initial investment, the initial price of the property, 580,000 times 100%. Okay, so the return will be 103. 52.24%. So this is the return when she will sell her property, her house. Okay, so this is how you calculate your ROI. The formula is very simple. Total return over initial investment times 100. The return for unit trust and share is capital gain and dividend. For property, it is rental and capital gain. Okay, let's see the next subtopic, average cost strategy. Average cost strategy is a strategy where you invest your money monthly basis based on the price per unit. Okay, so let's see this question. Mr. Wong has invested 8,000 ringgit by buying company X share over a period of 2 months with the same amount of investment each month. Calculate average cost per unit and the total number of shares owned by Mr. Wong. Okay, first you need to know what's your unit. Average cost per unit is equal to total investment, how much you have invested, over total number of shares. Okay, so first step, he have 8,000 ringgit and he have spent into 2 months. So basically on January, he spent, we're going to calculate for January, we're going to calculate for February. So January, he has spent 4,000 ringgit. February also, he has spent 4,000 ringgit. So to calculate your number of shares, what will you do is, You take 4,000, divide by price per unit 2 ringgit 10 cent, divide by price 1 ringgit 9 cent. So when you're going to calculate this answer, you're calculating the number of units. So when you are dividing, do not round off your answer as we are calculating number of units. So here you will get 1904. The next one we will get 2105. So this 2 is to calculate number of units of shares that you have. Okay. Next step, to calculate your average cost will be your total investment. Your total investment, your money you invested is 8,000 ringgit divided by the number of units that you have. So 1904 plus 2105. So your price will be RM 1.9955, so we can round off to 2 ringgit. So the average cost spent by Mr. Wong to buy the shares is 2 ringgit. And what's the total number of shares owned? Total number of shares will be 1904 plus 2105. 1904 plus 2105, which will give you 4,009 units. I repeat, when you are calculating your number of units, number of shares, please do not round off your answers as it's number of units. Okay, so this is average cost strategy. Next one you need to know is credit cards. Okay, so let's see for credit card. For credit card, there are certain things that you need to know. For credit card, you need to know there is minimum payment. There is finance charge. And there's also late payment charges. Okay, so what is minimum payment? Minimum payment is always 5% or minimum 50 ringgit. Finance charge, it's different according to the bank. It's usually 18 to 21% depending on the banks. Late payment is usually 1% or minimum 10 ringgit. Okay, so how do you consider all this? Okay, if the person have made minimum payment, if the minimum payment is done by the person, then you should only pay finance charge. If the person fail to pay the minimum payment, if no minimum payment is made, no any payment is made, then you will be charged finance charge and also the late payment charges. Okay, so I've given two examples here. The first one, Jason received a credit card. The statement shows that he has outstanding balance of 3,500. There's 18% finance charge, late percent 1%. Assume that Jason did not use his credit card in July. Calculate the outstanding balance in July if he made the minimum payment. Second one, he did not make any minimum payment. Okay, there's no time period given here. I'm just going to add into the question. Your credit card free interest period date is 15 days. So I forgot to add the timeline. So I'm adding here 15 days period. Okay. So the first step, he have made the minimum payment. Let's calculate your minimum payment. Minimum payment is 5 over 100, 5% times 3,500, which will give you RM 75 ringgit. Since this is more than 50 ringgit, so your minimum payment is 175. Second step, we are going to calculate your finance charge. So your finance charge will be, okay, what's your new outstanding balance now? 3,500 minus 175. Why we minus 175? Because 175 already been paid as minimum payment. So your balance is 3,325. So your finance charge will be based on the new balance, which is 3325. So you will be charged 3325 times 18 over 100% times 15 over 365, because this was the period given by the bank. So your finance charge will be RM 24 ringgit and 60 cents. So the total outstanding balance will be 3325 plus 24 ringgit 60 cents, which will give you 3349.60 cents. This is what if he makes the minimum payment for question I1. This is covering I1. Now, what if you do not make any payment? Let's calculate here. If you do not make any payment, so first step, you need to calculate what is the finance charge directly. So finance charge will be 3,500 is the outstanding balance times 18 over 100 times 15 over 365. So your finance charge will be 25 ringgit and 89 cents. So your new outstanding balance will be equivalent to 35 plus 25.89, which will give you 3525.89. Since there was no minimum payment done, there will be late payment charges. Your late payment is 1 over 100, 1%, times your new outstanding balance, which is 3525.89. Which will be 35.26. So your total outstanding balance will be 3525.89 plus your late payment charges 35.26. Which is RM 3561.1. So there's a difference between minimum payment made and minimum payment not made. So if there's a minimum payment made, please calculate your minimum payment, which is 5%. If it's less than 50 ringgit, you still need to pay a minimum payment of 50 ringgit. Then calculate your finance charge. If the person do not make any payment for the month or the coming month, then you will need to calculate the late payment charges as well together. Okay, so done with credit card. Let's see the last one, loan repayment. For loan repayment, your formula states that A equals to P plus PRT. So P is your principal, the loan amount that you have taken from the bank, and PRT is the interest that you are going to pay to the bank based on the loan you have taken. Okay, so let's see this question. Aiden bought a car worth 95,000. He paid down payment of 10% and the remaining was taken a loan from the bank, interest rate of 4.6% for 7 years. Calculate the total repayment. So this is your formula for total repayment. So A equals to, your principal will be, first you need to calculate your down payment. Your down payment is 10% of 95,000, which will be 9,500. So your loan will be 95,000 minus 9,500, which will give you 85,500. So this is your principal, the loan amount that you're going to take, 85500, okay, plus bracket 85,500 times the principal, times the interest rate 4.6 over 100 times 7 years. That's for your interest. Okay, so your total repayment to the bank is 113 RM 113031. This is the total repayment, your principal, your loan amount plus your interest together. Okay, for the first question. Question B, they ask for monthly installment. So RM 113031 divide by how many years loan you have taken, 7 years, and you're going to pay monthly, so times with 12. So your monthly installment to the bank will be 1,345 ringgit and 61 cent. Okay, so that's all. For loan repayment, actually there are two things that you will need to know. Sometimes you are charged with flat interest. Sometimes you are charged with interest on balance. So this question is based on flat interest. The interest is fixed here. Interest on balance is most probably for houses, commercial unit, which I'll cover in the next video. Thank you, everyone.